Hey, Tim Edwards here live from home office here in Dallas. Got a quick video here for you. I was thinking this morning when I was working out about momentum. You know, there's such a cool feeling when you've got what feels like momentum, right? When you've got that energy and that excitement, you know, and you just got that sense of urgency where you're just on fire, right? You just feel like your whole body's lit up, like every cell in your body, you know, is wanting to move forward. You know, and you know, every company has waves of growth at some point. Teams have waves of growth, but it all starts with one person, right? If you roll the clocks back from any big momentum wave, lots of people, lots of teams, whole company, it started at some point with literally one person, right? One person that had that feeling, that started to attract people, that started to impact people, that started to grow, you know, exponentially, that turned into a bit of a movement. You know, so it all starts with really one person. And I can tell you the key to that, whether you're in a wave, out of a wave, needing to start another wave, it all comes down to a single person, especially if they're around a few people that are ready to do it, is that it's enthusiasm. Right? Enthusiasm, there's an old saying in the business that I used to love, and I still do. It goes like this: catch on fire with enthusiasm, and people will come for miles to watch you burn. So if you can tap into that feeling and you can transfer that to other people, like your prospects and your team, you can create an impact on people, right? You can get people to feel like something is happening. They should look at this. Create that, what's called FOMO, fear of missing out. And so what happens is that you transfer energy. So here's the thing. People don't really buy products so much or companies so much. They buy a person first, and the way they buy a person is a transfer of energy. So when you feel, you know, and if you've ever watched new people when they come out of the gate, when they're super excited, when they first get out of the gate and they know nothing yet, they've had nothing happen negative, they have no concept of it gets hard later. They're just on fire, talking to their friends, talking to people they know, and things just work because they're transferring energy to people. They don't have skill, they don't have knowledge, they don't have expertise. It's just energy, guys. So just know that if you can get into your head how to create that enthusiasm and just go out and impact people, it changes people. They want to talk. They want to watch your video. They want to go into your funnel. They want to go into your group, whatever it is, right? So if you can capture that feeling yourself and you transfer it to people, things happen big time. All right? So example here. I'll give you an example of this. Like if I were to give you, let's say, a lotto ticket, and then I called you at 10 p.m. that night, and I said, it's worth $100 million. You've got the winning ticket, but you've got to get it turned in by midnight. I mean, how much urgency would you have, right? It would be like off the charts, right? You would instantly just gravitate to exactly what you've got to do. You'd be super excited, super focused, on point. What's next? What's next? What's next? You'd get that done, right? Because there's so much at stake. Well, just know that all that money, all that success, whatever your dreams and your goals are, at the end is like your lotto. And it really starts with that urgency. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to create this. So for many people, enthusiasm, you know, is kind of out there. You know, I remember back in the day when I first started, I happened to witness some bad network marketers that were on stage, kind of hypey, kind of cheesy, kind of, you know, high pressure. And it just didn't sit well with me. You know, I thought, man, this is just so unprofessional. I would never introduce my friends to this or my family to this. And so that fake enthusiasm, that hype, made me associate that was not good, right? Because it was fake. And I tried to tone my enthusiasm down for a while. And what happened is it actually affected my business. I wasn't able to really impact people because I was trying to be too professional and not go overboard. And it dawned on me after a while, I needed to at least get up to what was natural for me. If you are talking to people with whatever's naturally enthusiastic for you, it's never going to come across as hypey, right? If you feel it and it's real and you just kind of let that energy go, that's going to be perfect, right? If you dial it down to be professional, it's gonna dampen it a little bit. And if you overdo it, just act like you're excited, right? It's going to come across as fake. So you've got to dial it in with what's natural for you. So when you approach somebody with whatever your verbiage is, and they perk up, here's the next thing, right? So first thing is get that mindset that you've got to go out and impact people and have that enthusiasm, right? That you transfer energy to people. Next thing is that once people perk up with interest, is that you've got to go for what I call a micro commitment. Meaning if I perked you up, when I'm recruiting, I would say, do you have 5 minutes right now? So I've already transferred energy to you and enthusiasm to you. You've kind of perked up. And if I say, do you have 5 minutes right now? Right? You're going to feel that. And because you already have the energy from the first exchange, that you're more than likely you're going to say yes to that. Very few people don't have 5 minutes if they feel something. Okay. But if they don't feel it, it's not going to work. But if you feel it, okay, the micro commitment obviously is the 5 minutes. But the urgency is right now. Do you have 5 minutes right now? Right? When I say that, and if you had energy from our conversation before, you're going to react to that. And you don't say things like, are you interested enough, to talk, right? That's lame. That's full of doubt. That's full of, even probably a tinge of fear, like you really don't want to talk to them. But that gives them something to think about. Where if you say, are you interested enough to talk? That means you're not very certain. So that energy is transferred to me where I'm not certain that I want to talk either. And so what happens is that what you can do is you can trigger things like, well, I'm kind of busy right now. Well, why don't you check back with me? Or not, today's not good, I want to check back Monday. How many times, if you had kind of a weak connection with somebody and they said, call me back, follow up with me later, after I get paid, call me back Thursday, next week, after whatever. How many of them were there? Almost none. Almost none. Because you transferred doubt and uncertainty to people by asking them if they're interested or if they're open. So that's what you get back in return. Okay? So also, once someone says yes to the conversation for 5 minutes, or it might be urgency for you to get into a group or whatever your process is, right? But the key is you want to be in a situation where you're always asking questions so you can control the conversation. Meaning, if you approached somebody and they're intrigued and you say, and they said, what is it, right? And if you said, well, can you chat for 5 minutes right now? Right, that gets them off of what it is, and because you've asked that question, you've got control of the conversation again. So you've got to stay in control. Questions are the key to controlling conversations, right? If you just answer with whatever the answer is, it's a comment, and then they can ask a question, and then you're answering, and they ask a question, you're answering, so you're out of control, right? So you've got to have a very defined approach where you do something to intrigue people, transfer energy to people, ask them if they've got 5 minutes to chat right now, right? And you transferred energy, kept control, and then now you've got that urgency and that little time window at micro commitment, so people say yes. Okay. So you've got to have a step 2. Once you've got them intrigued with whatever your process is, you've got to have a step 2, which is it needs to be, whether it's a video, it's a conversation, it's a group, it's a funnel, right? So step 2 is you've got to implement that next bit of information, and just know that if you're going to have conversations, they only work if you're comfortable with what you're doing. If you're comfortable is not a good word because you're always going to be uncomfortable. But if you're excited about it and you want to talk to people, that's a good thing, right? If you're freaked out about talking to people and when you get on, you just kind of look like a deer in the headlights, you're probably better off deferring them to a group or a video or a funnel or something. So, and also whether no matter what you're deferring them to, right? There needs to be a call to action after that. So energy, enthusiasm, right? Transfer it to people. Get them peaked, get them to say yes to a micro commitment with that urgency. And then you've got to have that next step, which is conversation, video, group, funnel. And then the next thing is you better have the next thing, which is step 3, which is an appointment set up so that you can go over whatever their interest is, right? Or their questions are, or, kind of interact with them. Because here's the thing. People, it comes down to connection. When I'm out working my business and people are interested and I see them interact with our funnel, I'm going to see if they have a time to chat for a second, right? Show them what you do, what I do, how it all works together to reach your goals, right? Are you open to chat for a minute, right? And if people are really interested in what you're offering, they will chat. Okay? And if you can't do that chat, you need to have an upline mentor that's willing to step in and do that chat with you. All right, but you just can't leave things open-ended. You can't put people into a video or a funnel or a group and not follow up on them, right? Or if you put them in there, then you don't have a sense of urgency. They sort of lose interest. You check back with them the next day, and then they check back. Then they answer back the day after that, and then you try to coordinate a time, and then they lose interest, right? Because all that urgency and excitement that you created to get them to look at whatever you gave them. Now that interest has gone like this, right? So here are the stats. If you book a conversation the same day, well, actually, if you book the conversation in 5 minutes, it's almost 100%. If you book it later that day, it's 90%. If you book it for the next day, that follow-up after they've looked at everything, the next day, it's 50%. After that next day, so 48 hours later, it's almost zero. Because the urgency wears off, the transfer of energy wears off, the enthusiasm wears off, whatever they've looked at wears off. And then they start thinking, well, it's one of those things. And then they talk to their brother or their wife and, you're crazy. And so it has room for doubt, right? You've got to have this sequence kind of go consecutively or it's going to be weird. All right. So again, if I were going to put you into the funnel, for example, I'm going to book an appointment with you, right? When can we chat in the next 24 hours, even before you go in? Or let's book a time. How do you look tomorrow afternoon? What's a good time we can book an appointment to go over your questions? And if it turns out it's not a good fit, we can just cancel it. But we're both busy, so let's get it in there, right? So I can actually work you in and help you. So something like that, where you've got that appointment and you can actually cancel it if it doesn't work, but you have it set, right? That way you don't have to have that message tag back and forth till they lose interest. All right, so just know that this comes down to momentum, comes down to company momentum, team momentum, starts with a person or a few people. It starts with energy, enthusiasm. You go and pique somebody's interest. You transfer that energy to people. You get a micro commitment of a 5-minute chat or a 5-minute video or putting them in a group, and have that follow-up set up afterwards so that you can stay connected to them while they're at their peak and they're interested to see what it is that you can do to help them, right? And you get into that follow-up, it's going to be, if you had a couple things you didn't like about your job right now, what would they be? Or if it's about products, if you had a couple things you didn't like about the products and the results that you're getting right now, what would they be? So I'm going to find out what your problems are, why you're looking, and I'm going to solve those problems in that follow-up session. And then I'm going to show you how I can fix that. And I'm going to just say really simply, would you like me to help you? So if you already know what the price is of that product or what the price is to start your business, and I've defined your problems and I showed you how I could fix those, and I say, do you want my help? If you say yes, that means enroll me, because they already know everything, right? That's the whole point of putting them into videos, groups, or funnels is to do most of the explaining for you, some people call it selling, but really it's just educating people. And then you're there at the end to define what their problems are and show them how you can fix those few problems. All right, so that's how you get into momentum. It starts with you, your energy, transferred to a few people, turns into a team, a few teams turn into momentum, turns into a company momentum. All right, hope that helps. And if you need me, whether you're on my team or not, reach out. Love to chat with you and help you get on track. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.